Are you ready to start a business, but you're afraid it's going to take a really long time? Well, in today's video, I'm going to answer the question of how long it really takes to start your own business. So what's going on, guys? It's Josiah, your success consultant. And in today's video, I'm going to give you a step-by-step rundown on how long it will take you to start up a business. So I want to let you guys know this kind of right off the rip. And if you haven't done so already, please make sure you subscribe to this channel, because there's no other place that you're going to go to find more beneficial content for the advancement of black men's careers than black men's careers. I mean, that's obvious. So the first thing that I want you to understand when it comes to the question of how long will it take for me to start up a business? Well, technically, you could get started right now. You could go, on social media and tell everybody, hey guys, I got a business. And maybe you can offer up a service to people. There's ways that you can start taking orders on things before you even have the product in and of itself. And so you can always get started fast. But the thing that I want you to understand when it comes to having wisdom about this subject and this question overall is that you really want to be able to understand how to measure twice and cut once. See, to answer the question of how long would it take to start a business, you could start a business within a day, but it may not be wise for you to do so because you may not have properly measured how to have a successful business, okay? So let's talk about that, starting off, right? The first point that I want you to consider again is measure twice, cut once. So if I was in your shoes and I'm thinking about starting a business, here are some of the initial things that I would first keep in mind. Okay, number one, what problem am I solving? Okay, that's the first question that you need to ask yourself. And maybe you can answer that question in a day. Maybe you can answer that question in a week. Everybody operates at a different pace. So I can't give you any universal answer about, oh yeah, you can just do this and in 20 seconds, you're just going to be Bill Gates. No. That's the first question that you need to really ask yourself when it comes to becoming successful in a business is, what problem am I solving? Because that's really what a business is all about. Businesses solves people's problems and they pay to get their problems solved. Now, you might look at this and go, really? Are you sure that all these businesses are about solving problems? Yes. When it comes to what different businesses do, in some form or some fashion, they're solving a person's problem. So I'll give you a prime example. When you think about the fast food industry, they're actually solving the problem of having convenient meals on time and fast. Some people don't cook. Some people feel like their lives are just way too busy. It's all over the place. And just to go through the sequence of having to sit down somewhere, eat a meal, sit down, cook, go to the grocery store, buy this, buy that, those creates problems. And in those fast food owners understanding that that could be problematic for some people, they come out with fast food restaurants so that way you could get food fast. Regardless of the quality of, what type of food that you're going to get, that's not the direct problem that's being solved. The problem that's being solved is not having food as quickly as one would like it. Okay, so in your business, the first thing that I would ask myself is, okay, well, what problem am I solving? Okay, the second thing that I might ask relative to that is the audience big enough? Okay, now why is all of this important in answering the question, how long does it take to start a business? Well, I don't want you to just fall flat on your face when you start a business. Most people will just say, to hell with all of this, just go out and figure out what happens. Some people, maybe 1 out of every 1,000, 1 out of every million in some cases, can go out and do that and figure it out and, just find out wherever they end up. But if you want to actually start a business that you want to make sure works, these are some of the initial things that you want to have covered to make sure that your business can actually go the distance. So if I'm trying to start a business and my problem isn't, or I'm not solving anybody's problem, I know right there I need to go back to the drawing board. And I don't need to waste time building a website. I don't need to waste time setting up a PayPal account. I don't need to waste time, forming an LLC. These are all things that should be done prior to setting up any of those three things. And that's the reason why I'm telling you, sometimes when people just try to hurry up and rush into a business, yeah, they started the business faster than everyone, but it's going to take them longer to actually be successful at it because they don't actually have a business model that works. I would first ask myself that question: what problem am I solving? Okay, now, is this problem important? Would people be willing to pay to get a solution to this problem? And it's like I always say, there are certain skills and gifts that you possess right now that you just take it for granted every single day, but somebody would kill to have it. And so I would take, if I were you, some of those same exact skills and talents, put it into a business, and there will be people all over the world that will be willing to pay, okay? So what problem am I solving? Is the audience big enough for the problem that you are solving? This is another one that is important, right? And then at a basic level, you need to start thinking about, well, what are going to be my different P's of marketing? You know how they say the 4 P's of marketing? Let's go through that real quick, okay? I'm not going to make this video super long, but I'm just going to give you a basic layout and then give you a time estimate of how long it would take you to really build something solid as far as an idea or a concept is concerned, that when you actually start building off of this idea, then you can have a business that could get you where in a certain amount of time, right? So here's what I would consider, right? You want to talk about the 4 P's of marketing. So if you're going to have any business, it's going to have to be marketed. Because if nobody knows that your business exists, nobody will be able to buy from your company, okay? So the 4 P's of marketing, right? You've got price, you've got product, you've got promotion, you've got placement, okay? I'm going to go through this in a very basic level here. If you want to be able to have my extensive help to help you get going on setting this up in your business, that's where you'll click the link below to get into the free Empire Builder, because that's where I kind of help get things like that accomplished, okay? But in this video, you got to have a price, right? Okay, you're going to have something that you're going to offer to people. Maybe it's a product, maybe it's a service. How much is it going to cost? Okay, is this cost competitive? Is this cost too cheap? Is this cost too expensive? That's where you start at price, okay? Set your price. Then you got to start thinking about your product. Okay, well, what's the product going to be? What am I going to actually offer to people? Is this going to be a product that they are going to want? What's going to separate my product being out in the universe versus every other product that's out in the universe that may pose itself as my competitor? Then the promotion. How is this actually going to get promoted? Okay, so you've got a product, you have it at a certain price point, but how are you going to let the world know that it exists? Okay, are you going to be using social media? Are you going to have a website? Are you going to be using billboards? Are you going to be trying to put this on a TV commercial? How are you going to go about promoting your product? And then lastly, placement. Okay, how are you going to distribute your product to someone else? So where is it going to be placed? So I'll give you a prime example. So if you go on Amazon, right, they have a distribution system in place to where you're looking at their product placed on their website, and then when you order that product that's on their website, they will then distribute that product to you by shipping it. Okay, so you got to figure out, okay, well, where is my product going to be placed to allow a location for people to be able to go and get it? You see what I'm saying? How are people going to be able to go out and get your product? Are they going to come to your brick and mortar store? Are you going to be shipping things to them? Are you going to be having a website? How are you going to be taking your product after it's been promoted? How are you going to be taking it and getting it out to them? Those are four primary areas of focus that you've got to have down if you want to be successful in running your company. Okay? So there's other different things that I would say that are associated with this, but these are some of the key areas that I would want you to think about before, again, you spend money on getting an LLC, before you think about hiring an accountant, before you start trying to hire somebody on a staff, before you spend money on a logo, spend money on a website, do all of these social media posts, etc. This is really where you want to get started. Okay, because there's a lot of people that go out and they just do all that other stuff like social media, etc., but they don't even have any idea on what they're really promoting or what they're really selling. They don't have a business model that works. These questions will actually make sure that at a high level you have a business that works. Okay, so if I were to break this down into a few different components, here's how I would look at it. Okay, I'm gonna keep this basic. Let's keep it basic, okay? So the first thing that you need to focus on are your strategic things, right? Your strategy. Then you need to focus on your tactics. And then you need to focus on just how much time you have in terms of your schedule and your resources, okay? I'm going to show you what I mean, okay? Answering the question, again, how long does it take for you to start up a business, okay? Well, in order for you to get started with a business, you need to develop your business strategy. Now, if you have a good business strategy, maybe it could take you a few weeks to a month. Maybe for whatever reason, it may take you a few months. This should really take you no more than 3 to 6 months tops, okay? Especially when you're starting out. I think really 1 to 2 months should be more than enough as you're getting started, because you can always build on your strategy and go from there. And one of the primary recommendations that I would have for you is when you're first starting your business, even though you want to have a strategy, the majority of you starting and growing your business when you're just getting going is not going to be strategic. You're going to spend most of your time being very tactical. You should be spending most of your time actually doing the hustle work that's needed to go out, develop your product, put it in front of people, advertise it, sell it, and then continue that cycle over and over and over again until you have money to be able to reinvest in your company and you can make better strategic decisions. Okay, so again, like I said, I would treat this one maybe as 1 or 2 months. When it comes to the tactical things, when you're starting off a business, you need to be doing the tactical stuff day to day. Okay, but again, if you were going through just like a basic checklist of, maybe getting a business checking account set up for yourself, right? Setting up a business entity like a DBA or LLC or something like that. When we're talking about getting those types of things set up, again, if you're really hauling it, you can get a lot of the basic things that are needed for a business within a day to a week's time, especially using services like LegalZoom, etc. Okay, so I would tell you that some of those basic things that you need to get started within a business, I would say is probably about maybe 1 week. Your tactics, you'll continue to focus on doing tactical things day to day, but you can get started on this within a week's time. Okay. When it comes to the resources, you need to think about, okay, well, how much time are you going to afford yourself to be able to work on building up your company? Okay. Are you going to be building a business on the side? Are you going to be working on your business full term? Are you going to be, investing 5 hours a week into your business, or are you going to be investing 50 hours a week into your business? See, the answer to these questions as it pertains to resources, it will dictate how fast and how quickly your business can be built. You see what I'm saying? So these are the three primary things that you need to think of. But when I made the initial point of measuring twice and cutting once, what I was really trying to get you to understand is that before you really go off and try to just go all out on a business and set up everything from top to bottom, you need to make sure that you do your homework about how to even build a business in general. Most people, they just like to hop out there and their business doesn't go anywhere, and then they become frustrated and they wonder the reason why things don't work. Okay? Now you can take the slow route to success, which is just go out there and then just hope and pray that something works. That's the slow route to success. Okay? The fast lane or the fast approach to business would to say, okay, if I'm setting up a business in construction, well, you know what? Let me find the best construction mentors that I could possibly gain access to. Let me actually, read some of the best books that have ever been written about construction. Let me go to some of the top construction building conferences that are in the country, okay, if not the world. Let me make those some of my initial priorities, because as I measure twice and download that information into my brain as quickly as possible, it will make sure that when I cut once and actually execute in my business, I'm able to start getting results fast, right? So again, I believe the average business in America right now probably generates about maybe $50,000 per year, right? And this is, again, the average business. So we're talking about businesses that have been in existence for years and years and years. And, you got your mom and pop shops and all these other different types of companies, other small businesses. I would say that they're operating in that slow lane because of the fact that they don't know what they need to know to make more money and be more successful, because they just tried to hurry up and go out into the world and cut once. They didn't understand, okay, how do the best companies in the world do this? What would be the more efficient way to set up this process? What are the top key performance indicators? What are the top metrics that I need to be focusing on to really move the needle in my company? If these are not things that you know or even familiar with, you got to get to know them if you want to move and grow your business faster rather than doing it slower. Okay, so again, to answer the question of how long does it take to start a business? Well, if you wanted to start any rinky-dink business, you could start, it can launch today. But if you want to start a business that would be more successful or have a much better chance at making it, I would say you want to give yourself anywhere between 3 to 6 months of just preparatory learning, right? And as I'm saying that 3 to 6 months, again, that doesn't take into account on, how much you know about your own industry before you made a business out of it, right? I'm kind of coming into this thing assuming that you have a certain skill set and a certain level of proficiency in your industry before trying to make a business out of it. Now, if you're trying to make a business out of something that you know absolutely nothing about, well, then again, it could take you longer. But like I said, between what I've documented here and just coming up with the strategy, learning the things that you need to learn, setting up just tactical checklists of things, and having a resource where you're putting in a decent amount of time per week to get your business off the ground, then you should be able to get going with something within 3 to 6 months time. If it takes you, years and years and years to launch a business, chances are your business ain't going to launch, right? And as we're looking at the aggressive pace of technology and innovation today, you want to start your company sooner rather than later, but you don't want to run so fast that you trip over your feet and fall on your face, okay? So that's the first answer to that question. You want to be able to measure twice and cut once. The second thing that I want to tell you on that is don't race too fast, okay? Don't race too fast. Instead of wondering how quickly I could start a business, What I really would be thinking about is how quickly could I start an effective business? Because there's really a difference between the two, and I talked about that a little bit earlier. But when I'm talking about racing too fast in this context, sometimes people have really lofty goals about accomplishments that they want to hit. And that's can be pretty dangerous to you as you're starting off your company. So if you say, well, I got a goal, I want to be able to make $1 million, right? Well, if your business is just starting off, and maybe you haven't started a business before in your life, or maybe you haven't even made 5 figures in a business before, one of the things that you got to recognize is that just by you having that mentality, on some level, you're actually setting yourself up for failure, whether you accomplish that milestone or not, because you've got to understand that there's levels to this. There's certain lessons that you're going to learn at every turn of growing your business, okay? There's lessons that you're going to learn when you make your first sale. There's lessons that you're going to learn as you make your first $100 in a company. There's going to be lessons that you're going to learn when you make your first $1,000 in a company. There's going to be lessons that you learn when you start generating 5 figures in a company. There's going to be lessons that you learn from one year to the next as your company continues to grow and grow and grow. And you're going to go from 3 figures to 4 figures, 5 figures, hopefully 6. And then you might be one of the lucky ones in America that gets to that 7. However, you cannot do it too fast. If you try to do it too fast, you're going to miss critical lessons along the way that you should have learned. And if you only learn lessons at a 7-figure mark that you should have learned at a 3 or 4-figure mark, then guess what? You actually can fail a lot harder than a person that never even gets to 5 figures in building a company. Why? Because when you make bigger mistakes with a lot more zeros behind them, it's a lot more painful. See, you don't want to race too fast because you got to start making mistakes small. I know that you want to do great things. You want to have the nice house, the nice car, the nice vacations, this and that. But you've got to give yourself time. You've got to be patient, King. You've got to go through the disciplines and the process of things step by step. There's levels to it, okay? Now, you can get from one level to the next faster by having the right strategy, by having flawless execution on your tactics, by investing the right amount of resources, but you have to start pacing yourself, okay? So one of the things that I would encourage you to do is setting proper milestones for your company. Here in my organization, we set quarterly milestones, right? We actually have, different goals and things that we set at every stage of our company within a year. So we have daily goals that we need to hit. We have weekly goals that we need to hit. We have monthly goals that we need to hit. We have quarterly goals. We have annual goals. We have all types of things, okay? But in your case, I would recommend that you start making some of your own milestones about where you should be and when. So you can set your own milestones, and some of these milestones may be ambitious, but as you actually execute and you get out into the real world and you put your ambitions to the test, then that's when you have to start making adjustments and start course correcting on things. But if you don't have milestones that you have listed down, and if these milestones don't make sense, then he's going to be doing a lot of work for no reason. Again, where there's no vision, the people perish. Set up milestones, plug it into your company, monitor your progress over time, and then go from there. Third and final point. If you want to be able to set up a business and you want to do it relatively fast and effective, keep it simple. There's so many people right now, and I've been victim to this. This is how I know to tell it to you. There's so many people that are starting businesses or want to start businesses, but they do it in a way that is so overly complex, right? So I'll give you an example. So, there's a lot of you guys right now that want to be able to, set up an online business. You've kind of been watching my channel for some time. You've been liking how I've been making money from the comfort of my own home. You like how I'm traveling the world while making money. It seems great. It seems like I'm living the life. And now you want to be able to set up something similar. But one of the things that most people do is they try to take on too many things at once, thinking that all of those things are necessary in order to have a business. Oh, well, I got to have a Facebook fan page. I got to have a YouTube page. I got to have a Snapchat. I got to have an Instagram. I have to have a podcast. I have to have a Tumblr. I should be on Pinterest. And you having all of these things set up, trust me, there's so many people that are making tons of money right now online. I'm talking about millions of dollars that don't have any of that stuff. But they have one thing that really works. Okay? So you gotta keep it simple. Whatever your approach is, it's much better for you to be super effective at one set thing than to try to spread yourself thin across 50 different areas and then you wonder why your business doesn't work. Okay? Keep it simple. You don't need the world's greatest website. You're wondering, oh, well, what should I do? Should I use WordPress? Should I use Squarespace? Should I use Wix? Should I go out and pay somebody $10,000 up front to make a website? And, does a Jack in the Box have to pop out of the screen whenever people go to the website? And, does glitter have to start coming down from the skies as soon as people go to my URL? It doesn't have to have all of that. There's a few basic things that every website needs to have, and I'll talk about that in an upcoming video. Okay? But again, you need to have a simple point of entry. You don't need the world's top tools, okay? If you're just starting out in a company, you don't need to use the same e-commerce system that the big boys are using. You don't need to use the same CRM tool that the big boys are using. You don't need to use the same tools that multi-million-dollar companies are using if you've yet to make your first $1,000. If you've yet to get a certain level of subscribers, if you've yet to really achieve certain milestones, you don't have to spend the exact overhead that other companies are using to get yourself on a certain level. Because when you do that, you actually overcomplicate things for yourself, and it shows that you actually don't understand which variables make the difference in your company. See, for a lot of you guys, you think, oh, well, I just have to have this perfect looking website. Or for every video that I have to do, I just got to be able to have just a, 4K video. And I've got to be able to have the audio that, sounds like I'm whispering in a person's ear. Listen, you've got teenagers right now that are just pulling out their phone, making millions of dollars just through a basic camera. And so there's a lot of things online and in a business in life that might look shiny. And in some people's eyes, you might think that it matters. But in the grand scheme of things, it has very minimal impact on producing solid results. In fact, when you think about the Pareto effect, the Pareto Principle, 80% of all results stem from only 20% of the activities. So if I'm you and I'm trying to start a company, I need to be thinking about, okay, well, what are those 20% things that would get me 80% of the results? Maybe right now you don't know what all the 20% things are, and so you might have to experiment with a few things. That's fine. But once you get done with those experiments, then that's when you need to start plugging in and say, okay, I noticed that when I start using this, or when I start doing that, or when I put more time towards this area, I start to get more results. Once you understand what 20% of things gives you 80% of the results, use that and keep doubling down on it to make yourself more money. Again, you don't have to have the world's greatest tools. You don't have to have the world's greatest equipment. Keep things simple and focus on making money. It's not a hobby. It's a business. A business is about making money. Making money is not just about being the best looker. It's not about being the best talker. It's about making money. So you need to focus on the processes that help you make money. All right? So those are the three things that you really need to think about when it comes to the question on, how long would it take you to start a business? You can start just any old run-of-the-mill business, and that's the reason why 80% of businesses fail in America today. Or you could start a business that can actually stand the test of time. It all depends upon how you set it up, okay? You want to set up a rinky-dink business, or maybe you have more experience, you could hit the ground running today and just see where it gets you. But if you want to make sure that you have a business that's more likely to work, my personal recommendation for you would be give yourself about a good 3 to 6 months of really planning and strategizing. You're going to be spending maybe a lifetime growing your business if you were to so lucky to have a business that's successful. So don't rush the process too much. If you have 8 hours to cut down a tree, you want to spend the first 4 hours sharpening the saw, okay? So measure twice, cut once. Don't race yourself too fast, and keep things simple. I'll see you guys on the next video. And wait, don't forget to click the link below so that way you can get into the Empire Builder, where I can give you a lot more hands-on training about how to be able to grow your business from scratch. Take care. I'll see you guys on the next video.